Fit like a bee, Danny Min here, and welcome back to another episode of Transport Fever 2 Around the World in Time. So, we are on the southeast of England map that I've created. I've added a few towns just for reference. I'll obviously add a few more. So, for example, we will have Southend and Sea over here. This way to the west sort of heads over towards London. As you can see, there's no towns or cities or anything in there yet, but there will be. Down to the south here is going to be like Eastbourne, is going to be as far southwest as we're going to get on this map. But right now, for just now, we are using it for the purpose of building the C&WR, which is the Canterbury and Witstable Railway, which the Invicta ran on. So we're going to show that in just a moment. I'll add a bit of landmass. Probably I'll make a huge chunk of land over here. This will be France. So I'll add that. And we'll have like channel crossings and stuff from Dover over there. There's a huge area to play with, so I'm sure we will be fine. But yeah, so the Canterbury and Witstable Railway. Now, I had all this stuff on here on my on the other computer. I'm just gonna bring it back up. It's Invicta Locomotive, and we'll go through the information. That is the Invicta Locomotive. Wikipedia. Yes, please. Right, so, the Invicta. Right, the Invicta. Oh, we'll go through what we've done first. So we've got a little passenger harbour here at Witstable. We've got a little freight harbour over here. A little fishing dock in here for the little fishing boats, which is pretty cool. There's our sort of freight terminal in there. We're going to run 2 trains today, 2 Invictas, because this one actually comes in reverse. So one will go sort of around this way, the passenger line. It will head up around the back here, join this line, and it'll head down here to Canterbury. Now I want these cities to grow on their own. I will sort of flatten out this area depending on how far it grows. And the freight line will take coal from this coal mine area over here, and it will head back round this way, and it will head back down to the harbour right over here. So first of all, let's get the freight train up and running. Now, I think it's in here. In fact, I think if I just push play, it should maybe pop out on its lonesome. There it is, right there. So, the Invicta. So this is a mod by Stephenson. Now it's from Transport Fever 1. He didn't actually get around to modding the Transport Fever 2 mod, which is totally fine because this Transport Fever 1 port looks absolutely fantastic. I love the fact that the guy is just like sitting on the side there. I love the fact as well that the Transport Fever 1 ported mods use these person assets. The sort of guys that look a bit rough and ready, their clothes are all covered in soot, etc. But that's good. Instead of the Transport Fever 2 versions that the train engineers, operators, drivers, firemen, etc., whatever you want to call them, are wearing like suits and tuxedos and like a top hat and stuff, and it's kind of weird. But this looks awesome. This guy's legs are perilously close from being chewed through the gears there. So yeah, it's really cool. It's a really, even porting over from Transport Fever 1, it looks absolutely fantastic. There's no issue with it at all. There's a lot of steam, but that's just something that happens. It's really struggling to get up this hill, which was interesting because in the actual diagram, in the actual Wikipedia for it did say that it struggled to get up the hill beside Church Street. But as the train is going along, we'll have a little read through it, and then we'll launch the coal train. We can jump on board that. We can jump on board this one as it sort of heads along. Again, Canterbury over here. I want it to grow out at least thus far. Now, when it comes to today's standards, sort of nowadays, more modern times, the landscape will change massively. So it'll be fine to play around with that and rework some of the stuff. There's a lot more I wanted to do with the harbours, etc. There was a little beach area that I created. We maybe didn't see it on the way out. And there's some buildings near the pier. So eventually this railway will go. Whitstable will hopefully grow down here. It's got nowadays got a really nice like yacht club and sort of moorings for yachts and pleasure craft, etc. So that's all going to change. That bear, yeah, there's a lot of bears and wildlife floating about Whitstable. So up the hill it goes, and let's talk about the Invicta. Invicta is an early steam locomotive built by Robert Stephenson and Company. It was built in Newcastle upon Tyne, and it was shipped down the east coast via sea and transported to Whitstable, to the harbour sort of dock there that would have been there way back in the day. So that's pretty cool. It was done in 1829. It was actually the 20th locomotive built by the railway engineers, the Stephensons. So the father, George Stephenson, and then Robert Stephenson, his son, and then there was I think there was a couple of other brothers in there as well. It was immediately constructed after Rocket. So Rocket was built, and then this was basically the next thing to come off the production line, as it were, back then. So Invicta marked the end of the first phase of locomotive design, which had started with Richard Trevithick's Colebrook Dale locomotive in 1802, which we've actually got, and we actually saw that still running on the Colebrook Dale line in the last episode. So that's kind of cool. We sort of come full circle with this sort of design here, where I don't know, what is different. Obviously, many things changed. I think it's this piston here. I think that's what changed eventually. So yeah, so that's pretty cool. Invicta foothauled its first train on the Canterbury and Witstable Railway on the 30th of March 1830. So it's actually built before. This was all built before the Liverpool-Manchester Railway. We probably should have done this first, but hey ho. The Liverpool-Manchester Railway was a big obstacle, a big build that I had to sort of overcome, so I'm glad that I managed to do that. Yeah, so it was also the first steam-powered passenger service on the railway. So there's some argument as whether this was actually the first passenger railway system in the UK. There are other lines out there that have sort of claimed that they were the first, but the Canterbury and Witstable Railway, they were sort of claiming that they were definitely the first. But you don't know. Records are so dodgy from back then, you know. And it's not like they could find out in real time, you know. It's not like the first passenger train journey could have been posted on Facebook for millions to see. It would have had to travel through word of mouth, mail, newspapers, etc. So, you just don't know. Right, so continuing on, it was the first steam powered blah blah blah. Invicta remained in active service until 1839, when stationary engines were introduced to pull trains. Following a failed attempt to sell the locomotive, she was placed in storage. The stored Invicta became the property of the South Eastern Railway during the 1840s and was moved to Ashford Works, becoming the first locomotive in the world to be preserved. So this was the first one where they thought, hey, we should keep this so that later generations can sort of check it out. So that's pretty cool. And it's in pretty good nick, apparently, as well. There's a picture on it on Wikipedia from the 1970s. Plinth at Canterbury. So is that what it is now? Invicta was put on display and appeared at various events in the UK and abroad. So it travelled. Right, so what else have we got? Right, upon completion, she departed the factory on 15th of April 1830, being shipped to sea, by sea from Newcastle to Whitstable. Yep, we know that. The inaugural train on Whitstable Railway into Whitstable Harbour Station for its maiden journey. So it left Canterbury and went to Whitstable, and then it went to the harbour station there. That's why I've got our station pretty much on a harbour. So that's kind of cool. So yeah, it's amazing the sort of information you can find out on Wikipedia, even though this is from way back in the day. Right, so initial... yeah. It was initial operations using Invicta, so it rode along the northern 2 miles of the Canterbury and Witstable line. However, it soon became apparent that the locomotive lacked the power at any speed to haul trains up the steep incline along Church Street when departing Whitstable. So that steep incline we've got as it comes out of Whitstable, it was struggling in game, and apparently it struggled in real life. So it was a marvellous bit of technology at the time, but it just wasn't up to the task, unfortunately. So yeah, pretty cool information there on that, on the good old Invicta. We'll jump on board, because this is I'm only really going to do one episode on this, because there was only one train. Invicta was the only train to be sort of ran on this line when the line first opened, and there was only one of them. But for the purpose of this episode, we're going to have two, because we're also going to have the coal train as well. So we'll ride on our Invicta as it heads back to Whitstable, and then we'll release the coal train on its merry way. Now, this was one of the mods that had a reversed locomotive, which is pretty cool. So the coal train is actually going to be travelling in reverse, so that's pretty neat. I think most trains, I don't know how hard it is to mod the train to go backwards, but it'd be pretty cool if most trains did that. A lot of the multiple units, once you break up the multiple units into their single components, you can have them going forwards or backwards. And a lot of trains now have a cab at each end, so it doesn't really matter which way it's facing. It can both be in forward and reverse. So, heading down here, it's just a short journey, as it says in the Wikipedia there. Only 2 miles, that's not very far at all. This is probably maybe about 2 miles. I mean, it seems on Google Maps that it's further than 2 miles. Could be wrong. Could be entirely wrong. So yeah, this map we will flesh out later. Obviously there will be more lines added. There's a really cool map on Wikipedia. No, not on Wikipedia, just on Google. And it shows you the rail lines around the Kent sort of area. And it actually shows you where they ran from and which date and time they were actually built. Which is, I wish every part of the country had that. So kudos to the person that actually went through the time to make that map. I just wish they all had it. So there we go. Our Invicta has landed. There you go. So this would look nice. The ship's in the background. There is also a fishing mod on transportfever.net that I'm going to add. So that'll be pretty cool. So that's the first Invicta, right? We will run on the second one. So here we go. Invicta 2, just named Invicta. Now you're going to go on the coal line, my friend, and this one will be in the reverses. There you go. There it is, going backwards. Again, we've got this death-defying gentleman on the side of the locomotive. The only thing that's kind of weird, that throws me off slightly, is that these guys don't actually look backwards. They're sort of just still facing technically forwards. But yeah, it's pretty cool. There it is in reverse. It looks magnificent. This as I said, even though transported from ported over from Transport Fever 1, it looks fantastic. I love the wood as well, because a lot of the trains were made of wood, but they were painted. Some were made of like steel and iron. But I love the fact that the wood is there. It just gives it that sort of old sort of feel that the locomotive is built way back when. So it's really cool. So there we go. Here is our... Is this actually paused? It is 27th of December. Okay, it's about to be a new year. It's about to be 1851, even though it's technically 1830. So this one, which is kind of strange, I think the passenger wagons must be way heavier than the cauldron wagons, because this guy manages to get up the hill with very little issue at all. When looking on Google Maps as well, so this area in here is like a sort of nature reserve, which is pretty cool. So there's a lot of trees and forestation and stuff in there. But yeah, as I said, these maps are not going to be 1,000,000% accurate. We're going to take a lot of creative license and sort of liberties playing around with getting these maps to work. As I've said many times, Water Physics and Transport Fever 2 are pretty dumb, for lack of a better word. It's a great game. I absolutely love this game. Yeah, Water Physics is a complete bust. They are bringing out an update soon, which I am absolutely terrified for, because updates can... Hello there. I was wondering why it just randomly said hello there, but there's a bar. Calm down there, Yogi Bear. You'll be fine. Yeah, so... Previous updates for me have been... Some have been okay. Some have been bad. I would say in every single update there's been, though, for Transport Fever 2, I have had mods break. However, I have been in the position where the mod is not in use, and I've been able to remove it quite easily from the game until it gets updated. Or sometimes they don't get updated at all, which is unfortunate, but we'll see how we get on with this one. I think there's still a while before it releases. We'll see how far on we get. As I said, I'm going to have like a ton of save games, so there's so many different maps that we're going to be creating. I am possibly entertaining the notion of getting the UK done first, even though I just did. The previous Transport Fever playthrough was a UK playthrough, but I'm thinking about maybe getting the UK trains done first. Then once that's done, moving on to a different country. We'll see. I might do some mod sort of showcases as well. There are a lot of trains I want to use, and tons of different countries I can use them on. But yeah, I think I'll do... Yeah, we'll see how we get on. We'll see. We'll see. Right, so here is our Invicta. Heading down. A couple of farms and stuff over there. Again, as I said, I'm hoping that this all grows out to here. Whether it will, I've no idea. We can only hope. I would imagine it will over time. The more freight and sort of trains that run in here, etc. There is a bus passenger service that also runs from Witstable to Canterbury and back again. So that should encourage a little bit of growth. It may cannibalise my train station, but the train station right now for passengers is kind of out of the way. So what we'll do is we will land here. We shall deliver coal. We're not going to be delivering coal right now because the train's facing the other way. That's pretty cool. Here's our little harbour train station area. We've got the clipper on the background. We've got the fishing docks there. And what we'll do is we'll jump on board. Oh, that's weird. Okay. There we go. There you go. There's this crazy, crazy man. Is this how this actually worked? I mean, if it is, kudos to the guy that sat on the side of there. I suppose the train probably did not go that fast, but it'd be pretty crazy if your leg got caught in those gears there. You'd definitely be losing a limb or two there, probably. Right, so heading out. What is this? We'll double speed this because again the trains look totally fine at double speed. Can't see the passenger train anywhere. You normally can see it because there's a lot of steam and smoke. I did port over the smoke reduction mod from Transport Fever 1 as well. And that seems to have an effect on some vehicles, but not on others. There you go. Horse and cart crossing over the line there. Hello. Hello, lady. Oh, there's a lot of people waiting at a bus station. Yep. Now, I wonder where the other train is. Huh. So it could have been down at the Whitstable Harbour train station, or it could be down here to the left at the Canterbury. No, don't see it. Don't see any smoke or steam either as we head through the woods. Oh, bush. Random bush there. This is a bit of a roller coaster section of track here. I thought this was actually flat. But looks like that is not the case. Unfortunately. Right, so heading down. There we go. Down here, back into the coal mine, and that will wrap up our little Invicta line for today. So, yeah, ported over from Transport Fever 1, no problem. Looks absolutely fantastic. Now, I know Steve did say he was going to do an updated version, but obviously life stuff gets in the way, which is totally understandable. People have to live their lives. I'm the same. I'm really struggling to build out these maps and stuff because it takes a long time to detail stuff. I actually, if I'm perfectly honest, rushed this one quite a fair bit. There's a lot of trees and stuff in here. There's minimal amount of farms because they take not too long to place. You can bang in a farm pretty quick, but yeah, real life stuff is kind of getting in the way of me building out these maps, which is unfortunate. So yeah, but this, even ported from Transport Fever 1, looks awesome. I'm actually really happy with the way this turned out. So yeah, that is going to be it for this episode. As you can see, the coal has been picked up. So the coal is basically a freestyle industry, just a tiny one. It produces coal. There's a input freestyle industry. So the one that is here is an output. It outputs coal. This guy picks it up, and the input will accept coal at the far end there. Now I'm looking for the passenger train. Where is it? See, you can see the smoke and steam there, so it's not there. Where are you, passenger train? I really hope Canterbury builds out this way. We will obviously have to change it at some point. See, from here. Where are you? Are you stuck? It could be that it takes a million years to get up here. Are you stuck? Where are you? Now you're there. Have you got people on board? One? Oh, awesome. It works. So yeah, this is this incline here. The Church Street incline, which apparently this locomotive really struggled with. But quickly, we'll take a quick note of the bus line. So the bus line goes through here. There's one of my buses right there. It's actually super busy. People really do use it quite a lot. No one... Oh, there's 4 people here. Okay. Yeah, so it just goes round Canterbury here. It comes up round the road here. It goes to here where these buildings are. There's a little horse farm there. If this fence loads in... Why is that fence stuck loading in? It makes me sad. There we go. There's the train in the background. Whee! Yeah, so it picks up people here as well. These houses are really cool mods, and they actually do populate. So people want to go to them, and people want to leave from them, which is interesting. It's really cool. Also, the train comes down here, goes around Witstable. It doesn't come down here. I might make like a little bus, stick 2 buses on it that go back and forth from there, because the people may want to take a shorter route. But anywho, that is going to be it for this episode. So as always, if you did watch this and you would like to leave a like, comment or dislike, please feel free to do so. And if there is more, if I can click on you, you would like to see in the future, then hit that subscribe button. But I've been Danny Min, this has been Transport Fever 2 around the world in time, and I will catch you later.